Introduction to the French Revolution, Unit 9. Why did the French revolt? In this video, we're going to do things a little bit differently. You're going to look at some documents or some evidence that will help you answer the question of why the French people decided to revolt against their government. As you look at each of the sources, and there are 9, you're going to think about, but not write down, the answers to the following questions. What facts or details are evident in your source, and how might these facts and details have contributed to a revolt against the government? Those are the things that you should be thinking of as you review each source. What you're going to write down on your notes is just a 3 to 5 word summary of what you think is most important about each source. And this is going to go on the diamond notes on the graphic that you were given in class. Let's get started. Source 1. Nature was creating economic problems. First, a hailstorm and a drought ruined the harvest. Then, the winter of 1788 was the worst in 80 years. Frozen rivers prevented water wheels from powering the mills that ground wheat into flour. Food and firewood were scarce and expensive. As hunger and cold made life wretched for thousands of French citizens, misery grew into anger. Now, go to your diamond graphic, find the box labeled number 1, and write down the 3 to 5 words that you think are most important about this source in terms of understanding why the French people revolted against their government. Look at the picture that is source 2. Notice that there are 4 different figures in the picture. Think about these questions and then write down the words that you think should go on your diamond graphic for this picture. How is the person on the bottom of the picture being represented? Who could the people on top represent? What does the image say about different groups in French society? Source 3. 2 quotations. The first comes from one of the Enlightenment philosophers, Jean-Jacques Rousseau. Man was born free, yet everywhere he is in chains. The second quotation is by Thomas Jefferson, author of the Declaration of Independence and 3rd President of the United States of America. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. What do these 2 quotes tell you about what people want and expect from their government? Look at the people pictured in the photographs or the portraits on the left. Think about who those people could be. Look at how they're dressed, how they are representing themselves. Look at the picture on the right, which is from inside the home where they live. And think about how people might be unhappy with these circumstances, with these 2 people on the left and their living circumstances. Look at this illustration. The caption below says, Le Deficit. See the 2 men who are going out the door, and then the men who are left in the room having a conversation with each other. What is likely in the bags being carried out of the room? What might the English translation of this caption be? What clues does this photograph or this image give you about why people were upset with the French government and wanted to revolt? Source 6 gives you a summary of the class or regime structure in France at the time of the Revolution. The social structure in France under the old regime was still based on the medieval order. There were 3 estates: the clergy, which was the first estate, the nobility, the second estate, and everyone else, the third estate. The first and second estates were the privileged classes. Among other things, they enjoyed freedom from taxes. This left the burden of taxation on the poorest French citizens. The chart shows the breakdown of 18th century French society. The first estate represented 0.5% of the population, but they owned 10% of the land. The Second Estate represented 1.3% of the population, but they owned 25% of the land. The Third Estate was actually divided into two groups: the bourgeoisie, which is the middle class, 8% of the population with 25% of the land, and then the peasants, 90% of the population, but they owned 40% of the land. How fair or unfair is this system of government and social class? Source 7 is an excerpt making reference to the Third Estate that you just saw on the chart on the previous slide. It reads as follows: "The plan of this book is fairly simple. We must ask ourselves three questions. Number 1, what is the Third Estate? Everything. Number 2, what has it been until now in the political order? Nothing. Number 3, what does it want to be? Something. The Third Estate embraces then all that which belongs to the nation, and all that which is not the Third Estate cannot be regarded as being of the nation. What is the Third Estate? It is everything." Think about what this excerpt is telling you about the people in the Third Estate. Jot down your notes and continue on to the next slide. Look at the people in this picture. Who might they be? What estate do you think they belong to? And what clues are given in the picture about their lives? Source 9. By 1789, France was bankrupt. The country could no longer pay its debts that were all the result of war. By 1789, France was still paying off debts incurred by the wars of Louis XIV, who lived from 1638 to 1715. Furthermore, a number of social groups and institutions did not pay taxes of any kind. Many universities were exempt from taxation, as were the 13 parliaments. Cities like Paris, the church, the clergy, the aristocracy, and numerous members of the bourgeoisie. And of course, it was simply brilliant to continue to tax the peasants who, having nothing to contribute, were over the course of the century forced to contribute even more. What is the main problem described in this text, and how could this situation make people angry about the government? By now, you should have written 3 to 5 words in each of your diamonds summarizing what you've learned about causes of the French Revolution. If you skipped one of the diamonds, rewind the video, go back and look at that source again, and just jot down the 3 or 5 words that you think are most important about that source. Then, in the space below your diamond graphic, list 3 reasons why you think people in France may have decided to try to overthrow their government. Thanks for watching this lesson on why the French Revolution began. Bring your notes to class tomorrow, and we'll talk more about it.